All right, let's talk about AI. It can feel like this incredible, almost magical thing that just appeared out of nowhere. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain because behind every single AI tool you use, there's a massive global factory. And we're going to break down exactly how that factory works. And maybe more importantly, who's really cashing in.
So let me start with a kind of a wild idea. You know that powerful gaming PC you have, or maybe the one you use for video editing? Well, what if I told you it's basically a miniature AI factory? It operates on the exact same principles as the global infrastructure that powers something like ChatGPT. It's the perfect little model of the real thing.
And that's really the key to understanding all of this. It isn't magic. You don't need to be a coding genius to get it. You just need to understand the factory that builds it. And this factory, it has 5 distinct, pretty logical layers that we're going to build from the ground up.
Okay, so check this out. This table maps it all out perfectly. Look at the bottom, layer 0, the foundation. For your computer, that's just your room, your desk, the power outlet in the wall. Simple, right? For the giant AI industry, that same layer is a massive data center building, a power plant, a whole grid. It's the same idea, just at a crazy scale. And then we just move up through the hardware, the software, the AI models themselves, all the way to layer 4, the apps you actually use every day. So with that 5-layer map in our heads, let's see how this really scales up. How we go from that PC on your desk to what is essentially a global, industrial-scale brain. And this slide just illustrates that jump in scale perfectly. That GPU, your graphics card, is amazing at doing tons of simple calculations all at once, which is why your games look so good. Well, the AI industry takes that same core technology and puts it on steroids. They create something like the NVIDIA H100, a GPU that becomes a supercharged, powerful assembly line for training these enormous AI models. You know, it's so easy to forget this part. We talk about AI and the cloud, and we imagine it's all just floating up there in the ether. But the cloud is on the ground. It's built on a massive physical foundation. We're talking real estate for these huge data centers, giant energy contracts to power them, and literally thousands of miles of fiber optic cables. It's as much about concrete and electricity as it is about code.
So, if AI is this massive new industrial revolution, with these factories popping up everywhere, the big question is, who's getting rich? And that brings us to a company that has played its cards perfectly, NVIDIA.
You've probably heard this old saying from the gold rush days, right? And it explains NVIDIA's business model perfectly. They figured, hey, instead of trying to build the one single best AI app, why don't we just sell the essential tools, the picks and shovels, that every single company digging for AI gold is going to need?
And their strategy was pure genius, really. It has 2 parts. First, at layer 1, they make the best hardware, the most powerful GPUs, the best shovels. But their real secret weapon is at layer 2, their software, called CUDA. Think of it like a special programming language that you have to learn to use their hardware. And because millions of developers already know it, it creates this powerful lock-in. It makes it really, really hard for customers to switch to a competitor.
And a quick but really important point here. It's a common mistake to think that GPUs are making CPUs, the main processor, obsolete. Not at all. They're a team. The CPU is like the smart factory manager, running the whole operation, figuring out what needs to get done. Then it hands off all the huge, repetitive jobs to the GPU, which acts like this hyper-efficient, specialized assembly line. You absolutely need both. Okay, so we've talked about the layers, we've talked about the key players. Let's make this all feel real. Let's actually trace the epic journey your question takes when you just type something simple into an app like ChatGPT. So you hit enter on your app. That's layer 4. Instantly, your request flies across the internet to a physical data center. That's layer 0. Inside, at layer 1, servers packed with NVIDIA GPUs grab your request. Then, and this is the magic part, at layers 2 and 3, that CUDA software lets the huge GPT-4 model process your words and come up with an answer. And then in just a couple of seconds, that answer travels all the way back through all the layers to your screen. It's a global, multi-billion-dollar machine, all fired up just for you. So now that we've seen the whole factory in action, what's the single most important takeaway here? Especially if you're looking at this industry and trying to figure out where the real, lasting value is being created. It's super tempting to think that the ultimate winner is going to be the company at layer 3 with the smartest AI, right? The company that builds the best brain. But the reality, at least so far, is that the biggest and most reliable profits are being made by those picks and shovels companies down in the foundational layers, layers 0, 1, and 2. See, companies like NVIDIA, they get paid by everyone competing in the AI race.
no matter which AI model or which app actually ends up winning.
And it's also so important to remember what this technology actually is at its core. These AI models aren't thinking or understanding like a person does. They are unbelievably sophisticated, pattern-matching machines. They've scanned trillions of words and images, and all they're doing is calculating, with incredible speed, what the next most probable word in a sentence should be.
So as you watch this incredible revolution unfold, the big question I want to leave you with is this. Are you focusing all your attention on the flashy performers on the stage? The AI models and the cool new apps? Or are you also watching the companies that are quietly and very profitably building the entire stage itself? Because understanding that difference, well, that's the key to seeing where the real value is being built in this whole industry.